I just got my greenhouse all set up last year and put a little nice comfy chair in it, and I was looking forward to some quiet times reading books in the greenhouse, and then this family moved in with like screaming children and trampolines and now a bouncy castle. So anyway, enough about me. Welcome back everybody to another episode of Tell Me Where I'm Going Wrong. This is a podcast where two exes who are friends, I was going to say two friends who happen to be exes, do a weekly podcast where we just talk about whatever is going on with us that week. My name is Josh. I'm one of the exes, one of the hosts, one of the friends, and the other one is Sean. How are you?
Hi, I'm the other one, and I'm Sean. Gee, that's a weird thing then, isn't it? You said two friends who happen to be exes. If we had never been in a relationship and we met, like, else, would we be friends? Do you know what I mean? Like, would we have been friends if we
No,
hadn't
I'll be
been
like,
exes?
who's that annoying, mouthy Australian know-it-all?
Yeah. And what would I say? Who's
I
that?
don't know, who's that
Who's
fucking sour-faced, miserable British guy?
who's that? Who's that Brit who's moaning all the time? That's always drunk.
I don't know what you mean. So who's that?
Another
Who's that gigolo on the street with his hands in his pocket and his crocodile feet?
another drink, Sue.
It's my only vice. I mean, it really is my only vice.
Anyway,
I'm so
before we
boring.
get started properly, can you notice visually this little clue that I'm giving away? And for
Well,
people who are,
I can see a little vampire
yeah,
something
for
or other.
people who are listening and not watching, I've got a little thing. Well, it's actually a magnet, and it's magnet. How do you say? Attached via magnet to my zipper on my jacket, but it's a little Dracula magnet, which is very cute. But I just thought I'd put that as a visual prompt to remind me to tell you and the listeners that Hill has booked a surprised 3-night trip for us to Romania to go to Transylvania.
But it's not a surprise.
Well, it was a surprise that he booked it.
Okay,
He
when are you
said he
going?
said in May. So
Oh
I don't
wow.
celebrate my birthday, but Hill celebrates birthdays and he insists on celebrating my birthday. And so we're
Mhm.
going around the weekend of when my birthday would be. And we're
Oh,
going to
fun.
Brasov in Romania, and we're going to go to the castle that is apparently
Yeah,
Dracula's.
Transylvania.
Obviously, it's all ridiculous and not true. You know, it's all like a lot of crisscross of like folklore and things that have just been commercialized.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
know.
very excited.
I know quite a few people who've gone to, Dracula's castle. I'm sure that's not the official name, but they've said it's actually really well done. Like I said, is it really sort of tacky and overblown? And they said, no, not at all. Like it's very sort of very mindful, very demure.
Well, it's Bran Castle or Bran Castle,
Okay.
Bran. And what is very exciting about going to Romania and that part of Romania is it looks so beautiful, like the
Mm.
mountains and the forest. And of course, we'll be going there in springtime. So I'm hoping that it's just a spectacular views. Probably do a day tour to the castle, and there's other castles and cable cars you can do in the mountains and in the forest. But the flights were so incredibly cheap. Getting in before World War III fuel hikes happen.
Well, I was going to say, so if there's any airline fuel left by May, but we'll see.
Well, let's see if we can get through the next 6 weeks without running out of.
Um, apparently there are like wolves
Oh,
and bears in Romania as well, so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
very
I'm
exciting.
I'm very excited. Apparently, there's a lot of Dracula themed stuff around. Some of it tacky, some of it not. There was a hotel that I was thinking of staying in, but it was maybe a little bit out of the town. But it's a Dracula themed hotel that's in
Ooh, fun.
the shape of a castle. It's kind of like like Excalibur style, and it's like the rooms and the bar and everything are themed Dracula, which would be fun. But we're staying in
Uh,
an Airbnb because it was, I mean, so cheap compared to like places like London and Manchester. And
yeah,
um,
well, that's not
yeah,
saying much, is it?
so I'm excited to go. I mean, I wouldn't have picked to do this because we're going to Australia so soon after, but it was just so cheap, and it was like Hill wanted to do something, so we're like,
Mm.
going to Brasov, and I'm excited. Like
Uh,
it's an exciting thing to do.
yeah,
Um,
fun.
so well, let's dive straight into the exciting news that's on everybody's lips this week. Is the what's happened with Rosonda Thomas, also known as Chilli from TLC. What have you heard about what's going on with Chilli?
Well, only what you've told me because I'm chronically out of touch with pop culture. But obviously, TLC were a huge band in the 90s. And again, well, not again, but they sort of had a bit of a resurgence in the noughties as well. And they consisted of T-Boz, um, obviously Lisa Left Eye Lopez, who tragically died. Well,
Yeah,
that would have been about 20 years ago now, right?
yeah,
And
maybe a
Chili,
bit over.
Chili, who's what's her real name? I forget.
Uh,
Rock
Chile is Rosonda Thomas,
Rosanda, yeah.
and
Um,
T-Boz is Tion Watkins.
right. Um, fantastic, fantastic band, like really seminal kind of um band from that period of time. And you
What can
told
you name some
me,
sorry, just for people listening, could you name some of their biggest hits that people might recognize?
well, I think the two that everyone knows are Waterfalls and No Scrubs.
Mhm.
They're the two massive ones, but they've got so many fantastic songs. Like "Ain't Too Proud to Beg" is
Yeah.
a
What
classic.
What about your friends?
What about your
Um,
friends? Unpretty. Unpretty for me seemed it was a good song, but it didn't really seem like a TLC song,
yeah,
if you know what I mean. It was a good pop song, but it seemed a bit sort of out of sync with the rest of what they were doing. But the
yeah,
album Fan Mail was such a good album. I mean, such an incredible album.
yeah. I mean, their biggest album was, the one with Waterfalls on it,
Hmm.
Crazy Sexy Cool.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, amazing, amazing band. But this week, uh, they've announced a tour in the last 2 weeks where it's going to be TLC with Salt and Pepper and Vogue. So 3 powerhouse R&B, hip hop, soul groups from the 90s that are all gonna tour together, and everyone was hugely, hugely excited. But then a magazine ran an article, sort of an exposé on Chile, Rosonda, talking about her donations that she had made to Donald Trump's political campaign.
Mm.
And people were like, especially in this current climate, I mean, there's huge backlash against Donald Trump and MAGA. He's got the worst polling numbers of any president in history,
Hmm.
breaking his own records for bad polling. And so um, everyone's really upset with this. How do you feel about someone who has been a big part of your cultural life and you've loved the music? How do you feel? Would you go to this concert if it came to London knowing that Chile had donated money
Mm.
to Donald Trump?
It's such a. I mean, it's a sort of double-edged sword, isn't it? When something like that happens, it's like when Morrissey became a fucking arsehole. Although I shouldn't,
Well, I think
I might have to bleep that out because he's so litigious. But
yeah.
it's on one hand, you're really disappointed in the person because you've held them up as some sort of paragon of coolness and I don't know, like we put these musicians on pedestals and
And it's
we
also
admire them.
it's meaningful to us. It's like a symbol of hope or something to
Yeah.
look to in a world that's so completely shit.
Yeah. And then on a more sort of personal slash selfish level, it's really disappointing and annoying because it's tarnished your ability to enjoy their artistic output. So, I typically won't listen to Morrissey or the Smiths anymore because I
Yeah,
feel so let down, disappointed, and saddened by Morrissey's political leanings and bullshit.
yeah.
Um, and it's now hearing this about T-Boz. Sorry, not about T-Boz, about Chile. Um, it's just, yeah, it's really disappointing. I don't know. What do you think about it? Like, would you still listen to
Well,
TLC or?
I find it really odd that I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if I've had enough time to process it. Like, as a
Mm,
huge Morrissey fan for most of my life, it took me a long time to get to that point where I was like, "Enough's enough." You know,
mm,
I probably did it a few years later than I should have. So with this, it's very fresh in my mind. Also, I don't wanna sound this might sound, I don't know, disparaging to Chilli as an artist, but I don't know how important it was that it was her in TLC. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Left Eye was an incredible, like, irreplaceable part of TLC. You know,
mm,
like, she rapped, her charisma her charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, as they would say on, RuPaul, you know, was undeniable, right? It was like she
mm,
was TLC to me as a fan. I loved the
mm.
other 2, but it was all about Left Eye.
Yeah, she
Um,
was the focal point of the band, or
and
not just
so to
focal
me,
point, but yeah.
I don't feel as let down. Like, if Left Eye was still alive and Left Eye donated money to Trump, I would be devastated, you know?
Mm,
Whereas with Chile, I've never had that feeling or that connection or that parasocial relationship with her that what she believed in personally mattered. But
mm.
saying that, yeah, I think I would be a bit hard pressed to go and pay, in this climate especially, to pay any money to see anyone performed who had given their own money or support to Donald Trump.
When did she do these donations? Like, when was this recently?
Well, yeah, that's the weird bit. If it was like, maybe you could excuse if it was back in 2004. When was the first run? 2016, right?
Was it? Yeah.
Maybe you could forgive it then.
But
Apparently, these donations were in 2024, right? So it's not even like you
yeah,
couldn't
this
excuse it.
it's very hard to disregard it, isn't it? Do you know what? Just as a slight aside, I was just thinking earlier today. It popped into my head. I mean, there's lots we could say about the situation going on now, and Iran, the US, Israel. I mean, there's so much to talk about. But I was just thinking the other day, like, like, it almost makes Trump's first term look like the good old days,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
oh, for
when they were
sure.
just bumbling bunch of fucking idiots. When, like, and I was thinking about Giuliani, when Giuliani did that press conference at the Four Seasons Total Landscaping in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And he had this like
Yeah.
black hair dye like running down his face.
Yeah.
And like, what a bunch of fucking clowns. But
Yeah.
this time in the White House, it's like, it's fucking all out insanity, or
Oh,
I don't know if
I
there's a
mean,
better term, but
I mean, at the time of recording this, I actually think there's going to be some sort of military coup in the USA that they're planning, but that's a whole other thing. They've fired so many like high up people. Pete Hegseth has just come out and said he's allowing, for the first time ever in history, uh, armed service people to have their own guns on bases. Like, they're not usually allowed
I'm
to bring
sure,
their own
I'm
weapons.
sure that's going to end well.
There's something
I
there's
mean,
something going
it's
on.
not funny,
Anyway,
but honestly, what the actual
we're
fuck?
in this situation not solely because of Chile, but because of people like Chile getting behind and supporting Donald Trump. Another weird thing was it wasn't a lot of money. I think in total it all added up to about $1,000. All these smaller donations,
Which
or
is,
she did it a
and
few
didn't you
times.
say something like her sort of comeback was that she thought she was just supporting the troops or something? Is that right? Is that what she said in the?
Yeah, she said she's not MAGA. She didn't really read the fine print of what she was doing. She believed her contributions were going towards looking after veterans and fighting human trafficking. You know, because that whole MAGA thing was like random stuff about how Trump was going to save children from being trafficked, and so
Yeah.
anyway. But what you might look at that and go, okay, maybe she's just stupid, right, or
Mm,
ill-informed,
mm.
but there was also she reposted some content around a Michelle Obama conspiracy. She faced criticism for resharing a transphobic conspiracy theory video about Michelle Obama. And Chile apologized, stating that it was an accidental click, that
I
she
mean,
accidentally clicked on that. Like, how do you do that? Right?
yeah,
So now
yeah.
fans are threatening to boycott this tour. Like, so the tour is called It's Iconic. And it really is for people like our age. that were into
Oh
this
my
music.
god. If they came to
This
the
is one of the
UK, I
biggest
would
things.
yeah.
But then also, like, while I was doing some, like, research in inverted commas for this
Mhm.
episode, I
Mhm.
saw a video of, T-Boz and, Chilli were on a Channel 4 in the UK interview in 2017, and the interviewer was asking them about their reactions and feelings about the Black Lives Matter, movement in the US, and Chilli said that, um, she's not really into all of that because all lives matter. So it's
She's
like,
not doing herself
okay,
any favors really, is she?
you know, how many of these things do we need to overlook?
What so
How
what
can we
was
as fans.
T-Boz there when she said that?
Yeah,
And
and
what did T what
the
was
video that
T-Boz's
I saw,
reaction?
well, I didn't see her reaction, the video cut out because it was just a little clip on social media. So, I mean, how many of these things can we overlook or excuse as accidents or mistakes or being ill-informed? Like giving money
Yeah.
to Donald Trump,
Like
resharing the conspiracy theory, saying all lives matter. Like, I think that's enough,
yeah.
right?
I mean, there is I I I said it last week about I can't remember who I was talking about last week, but I'll say it again this week. Like some people are just a bit stupid, like socially, politically stupid. Um,
Yeah,
they just don't understand politics. They don't understand how society works, and they'll say stupid things. And it's not. I suppose there's an element of leeway that you can give somebody, but for example, like Morrissey, like the first time you heard him say some slightly questionable, problematic things, you're like, okay. It's when somebody sort of like digs their heels in and just goes full tilt, xenophobic, racist, transphobic, whatever, like discriminatory sort of views, or problematic views. At that point, I suppose you do have to make a decision about whether you support them as an artist or whatever.
and a
Um,
and that's what I was saying, like, I'm really embarrassed about how long it took me with Morrissey, but I was so obsessed and so, like, the
see,
limerence of it all too.
you don't listen to his music at all now, is that right?
No, no.
The only song
Like,
I will
and I
listen
mean,
to of his now is oh, was it the Smiths? I think it was the Smiths. Interesting Drug. Was that Smiths or
no,
Morrissey? That was Smiths.
that's a Morrissey song.
That's a
That's
Morrissey
a
song.
Morrissey
Okay,
song.
that's the only one I
Yes.
listen to, and only because it's got Kirsty MacColl doing backing vocals. That's the only I mean, it's a good song, obviously, but um, it's just to hear Kirsty.
And we have to grieve for these things when we cut these people out of our lives. I mean, you know how big a part of my life Morrissey was. Like
Mm,
I was, it was as close as religion can get for
yeah,
me as an
yeah.
atheist, and and obviously TLC isn't at that level, but they were a huge part of my life. I mean, I
Have you ever seen
collected
them
all their
live?
vinyls. No, no, I
No, me
never got
neither.
to see them live. And I was such a huge fan, and especially because of, Left Eye. And
Mm,
so, yeah, like it's sad. It's like you have to, mourn something. It's like cutting out a friend or like,
yeah,
disengaging from, toxic family members.
yeah. Yeah. I think I would if they came to the UK, if that tour came to the UK, it's iconic, is that what it's called? Um,
It's iconic.
it's iconic. I mean, I love Salt and Pepper so much. I would go and see that. And I would just, I don't know, I would boo or sit down when Chili's doing Unpretty or whatever. Um, Yeah, I love Salt and Pepper too much to not go and see that, but I don't know if they're out. I don't know if they're coming. I mean, the tour might not even happen now, right? There's been quite a fallout from
Yeah.
this
Yeah, it's
from this.
yeah, very big sort of kickback from the fans. But, yeah, who knows what will happen. But I don't know, maybe by the time they do come here, maybe, Salt and Pepper will have come out as MAGA as well, or
Jesus
maybe
Christ.
maybe it'll
Yeah,
maybe the decision will be made for you, you know?
yeah,
Um, just, talking about everything going on in the world and, like, the fall of TLC and the fall of Western society, World War
Hmm.
III. It's a really hard place to feel mentally well, isn't it? You know, like, do you find yourself feeling super stressed out at the moment?
Yeah, like I'm trying to sort of carry on a normal life. I'm trying to sort of make plans for the next 6 to 12 months. I'm trying to remain upbeat and optimistic, but it's against this backdrop of impending doom, a complete breakdown in society. Um, Not just the war or invasion or whatever you want to call it, the incursion and the attacks that are going on in and around Iran, because obviously it's not just limited to Iran. Um, but I don't know if you've seen on the news, there's been a lot of, I suppose you'd call it civil unrest in the UK in the last few days.
Mhm.
There have been
Yeah.
these sort of flash mob, social media driven groups of youths, as the media call them, um, converging in parts of the country, like this week, like 2 days ago, I think, in Clapham in London. This big sort of like group of young people just converged, and it was something that was put out on, I suppose, TikTok and whatever the other things are that young people look at these days. Um, and they were just sort of marauding, just sort of going into shops and stealing and destroying property, and I just think
And
there's this.
trampling on hams and stuff, like trampling on groceries.
Is that a reference I should get? Is that like a,
No,
or
I'm
is that
just it was
real? A
like
real
yeah, like I was watching the news
trampling on
about it, and the
hams? I
news
mean,
was
that sounds
saying
like it's a quote from a John Waters film or something. They were all like
yeah,
getting all rowdy, trampling on hams. Um,
they were right ham tramplers,
they
Sue.
were hamming it up in Clapham.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I just think, and I was talking to some colleagues at work today, about some of I do a sort of public facing role, and I have been subject to some like really, really like hideous behavior, including physical assault, by a member of the public. And it's not
Did they
it.
did they trample on your ham, Sue?
My vegan ham. Um, Anyone, and we were just talking about, there's just, I think, against this backdrop of impending doom and a
Mhm.
complete breakdown of norms, uh, whether it's to do with COVID and lockdowns, or our addiction to technology and the amount of time we spend looking at screens. But it just seems that there is a complete breakdown of societal norms, and so the sort of the abuse we get at work, or people just disregarding um, the law and order of things. I've talked about it a bit on the pod, I think, about driving, how driving in London today is like, it's so different to what it was 15 years ago or 10 years ago even. People just go any which way. People drive on the wrong side of the road. I mean, it's like
Mhm.
the fucking Wild West. And I know I'm such a cliche, like I'm just an old grumpy man talking about how things have changed, but it's shocking to me. It's really shocking to me that things have changed so much.
Do you know what, that just put a picture in my brain when you said the term Wild West.
Wild
It just
West.
put a memory it just put a memory in my brain of that awful Will Smith song, Wild Wild
Oh
West.
god, that was awful,
Remember
wasn't it?
he was in a movie called Wild Wild West, and he
Was
had
it
a song?
was it an like about aliens going back to the cowboy days or something?
N
Was that what it was about? I don't think I
no,
ever saw the film. I remember the song though,
I don't
yeah.
think so.
Going
Maybe
back
you're just
to
converging.
the wild, wild west.
Wild Wild West. Yeah, maybe you're getting memories confused of Men in Black and Wild
Hmm,
Wild West, because
maybe.
Men in Black was all about aliens.
Yeah.
But yeah, just when you said that, it just put this picture, and I imagine him, like, jumping, like, doing Wild Wild West dancing. Um, yeah, why I brought up sort of the mental health of it all was I was reading about a topic in the week that I messaged you about called rejection sensitive dysphoria,
Mm.
which is also
RSD.
known for short as RSD. So,
Mhm.
what do you
On
know
an
about? What
I'm
do
on an
you know about?
RSD. I'm on an RSD tip, Sue.
Ooh, on the RSD tip. Yeah,
Mm.
that's a little TLC reference there, kids. What do you know about rejection sensitive dysphoria?
Well, I'm very familiar with it. It's well, I suppose it does it need explaining? It's quite self-explanatory, isn't it? It's an
Well, yeah,
overly come on.
yeah, go ahead.
No, you, after
You
you.
go. Okay, RSD is it's characterized by extreme emotional pain triggered by the perception, not just the reality, that one has been rejected, teased, or criticized by important people in their life. That's sort of the overarching basic approach to it. Could you could you sort of give it in your own words then,
Yeah.
how it,
It's
what it means to you?
what it means to me is basically a very, very dysregulated emotional relationship with people and friends and colleagues or just with life in general. So I mean even something as simple as sort of crying at an episode of Neighbours or or as, assuming the worst, like catastrophizing situation at work, for example, or even a situation within like a friendship. Um, it's an overactive emotional response to things. And it's common with people who have ADHD, which I have.
Yeah,
I don't think it's exclusive, but and yeah, it's difficult because it's very hard sometimes to feel something and try and apply rational thought to it. It's very hard when you're in the thick of something, in the thick of an emotional response, or in the thick of a catastrophizing um, shitstorm going on in your head. It's very hard to say. It's very hard to remember that maybe you're overthinking a situation, um, and then B to try and not feel the way you're feeling. So yeah, it's RSD is real.
it is real.
What's
And
your
the way that it
relationship with
well,
it?
the way that it manifests in people, like RSD, it kind of is um, like it can feel like it's physically hurting you, right? Like that
Mm,
response that it triggers in you, it feels like a physiological reaction in your body. And it can look um like somebody's angry, like you can have a sudden rage feeling. It can be anxiety that sort of presents itself physically, and severe depression. You can look depressed and feel depressed. And so from the outside, that's what it can look like, right? When
mhm.
if somebody says something to you and you take it like you accept that as like a negative, you can have these physical, outwardly facing responses to it.
Yeah, and it's so I don't know. There's so much shame. I don't know if shame is the right word really, but for example, I can think back on so many occasions in my life where I've felt so completely distraught about a romantic situation or an imagined romantic situation in some cases. Um, and at the time, felt like my entire universe, my entire reason for existing was worthless or
Yeah.
not worth it, you know. Um, and looking back, I can I can see a lot clearer, and I can just be like, my God, like it was such a severe case of RSD. Like now, I couldn't give a shit about that person, but I was so in the thick of it at the time. So it's
Yeah.
very hard to operate in the real world when you have RSD. I mean, you experience it too, right?
Oh, yeah. And for me, it's different because I don't have a diagnosis of ADHD like you do, and so for me, like, I'm pretty sure that I live with ADHD, but I'm undiagnosed, but all of these things that I read about, like when we were talking about limerence the other week or
Mm,
RSD, this is, these are very real things in my life, especially when I start looking at the behavioral consequences of RSD, like how, people who live with RSD try to negate negate it in some
mm,
ways. So, for instance, like people pleasing, like trying to go out of your way to avoid conflict or overachieve, to try and make yourself invaluable to people. And so, like, I remember when I was at university, I felt like the biggest failure on the planet if I didn't get the highest marks. And,
mhm.
I came away from university with first, what do you call it?
First class
Uh,
honors.
First class honors because I tied myself in knots from this feeling of, you know, this dysphoria of not being good enough.
Mm,
Also, yeah, so the people pleasing, the perfectionism, and avoidance, which is a big one for both of us, I know, like
mhm,
avoiding tasks, social situations, or anything where there's any risk of failure or not living up to your own expectations or what you imagine other people's expectations are. Avoidance is a
mhm,
really big thing for me. I
mm.
struggle to get stuff done.
Yeah, and I remember really clearly when I was living in Mexico and I started the vegan ice cream business with
Mhm.
with a van, and we would go and sell ice cream at festivals and to vegan supermarkets and stuff like that. And I remember one time he said to me, "Why do you not let me do anything?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, when we're getting ready to like take our stuff to a festival, why do you like try and carry everything down yourself?" And I just said, "Well, because I feel like I'm not doing enough." And he said, "Well, why?" And I sort of had I suppose, a come to Jesus, come to Gaga moment when I was like, yeah, I don't know why I do that, because I suppose constantly feel like I'm not doing enough, that I'm disappointing people, that
Mm.
um, I'm perceived as lazy or stupid, or less than everyone else. And I suppose it made me reflect on the fact that I've got a lot of shit to deal with, a lot of baggage. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, like I overthink and over catastrophize so many situations professionally, personally, in family situations as well. It's really it makes life very fucking difficult.
yeah. It is exhausting, isn't it, to live like this?
It is. And I've been single now for, well, I mean, what year is it? 2026. I've been single now for over 6 years, and well, no, over 5 years,
Maybe more. Oh, more, right?
maybe. Well, whatever. Anyway, it's been a
Ye
significant period of time, and I do wonder, because just like reading through some of the sort of like classic RSD, uh what do you call it? Not signposts, but like not symptoms, but like signs. One of the classic signs is like sort of isolating yourself socially or romantically. And I do wonder whether the RSD is a factor in that. I mean, partly I think it's misanthropy, just hating everybody.
Yeah,
But I do also wonder whether the RSD has made me very, very scared of romantic endeavors, because I've felt so completely devastated by them in the past, that it's put this sort of, I put a cage around it, in my heart, in my soul,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it. But yeah, um, anyway, this is turning into a therapy
Well,
session.
yeah, well, I mean, it's a very long we could have a very long discussion about it, but it's interesting that, like, that we both see it so strongly significantly in ourselves and in each other, you know,
Mm.
and especially there's so many links with the whole limerence thing what we were talking about as well.
Oh,
But anyway,
yeah.
maybe it's something that we can discuss in the future. Do you know something, just to pivot a little bit here, do you know something I'm very excited about this week, but I'm also quite terrified of it, is this mission flying around the moon. Have you heard about this?
I've seen some headlines. I mean, that's about the extent of it, really.
So they're not landing on the moon. They're just flying around the moon. It's a NASA mission. One of the things that was so bizarre to me is like they're using the gravitational pull of the moon and Earth to like get out there and then get back. It goes in a figure eight. So it goes
Mm.
up and around the moon and then back, swings back around and then re enters.
Mhm.
And just some of the terrifying, like space is just so epic and massive, and
Mm.
some of the terrifying numbers and figures and realities of having to do this just really make me feel insignificant and terrified. Even something like when it re-enters, when the capsule re-enters the Earth's atmosphere, it's going to be traveling at 40,000 kilometers an hour.
Mm.
Like, d
I mean,
does it make you
it's
feel like
nonsense, isn't it? It's just nonsense. Like a number like that, you just think. I mean, you know how fast it feels to travel when you're taking off on an airplane, which is what? That's probably about 300 kilometers an hour. Um,
no,
it's
more than that, yeah,
is it? Um,
yeah.
but anyway, whatever it is, I mean, that's infinitesimal compared to that. Um, yeah, it's weird.
And also,
Do
like,
you
the
remember where were you when what year was it? 1986 was it when the NASA thing blew up? The Challenger, was it Challenger that blew up? Do you remember
yeah,
where you were? Were you at
I was in
primary
Re
school?
yeah, I was in Re yeah, I was in primary school, but I was at home when I found out the news, like, I saw it on the news at home. I was in Redcliffe. Yeah,
Hmm. Mm. I mean yeah,
because
that's so imprinted on my memory.
also, like, this journey is taking 10 days. Could you imagine being in space in a rocket for 10 days? Not like, if something went wrong, there would be no way of getting back. Like, this would just be the end of your life. Like,
Mm.
I find it so terrifying, the concept of being in this vessel and like spinning basically around like this object in the sky based on like the gravity of it. That's what's getting you there and back. Like, that's like terrifying to me. Um,
But
when
where are
was
they
the
getting all
first?
this fucking rocket fuel? Like there's no
Oh,
oil. Where are they getting the rocket fuel from?
how? Why do people want to go near the moon or on the moon? Like, what's the point of for humanity to do that?
Because we are, as a species, as a society, collective society, we're pushing the boundaries. We're constantly searching for some sort of expansion into the unknown. That's what I think. Um, but
Yeah, I
it
mean, there
seems
must
like
be.
there are so many things that we should be spending our time and energy and money and rocket fuel on at the moment, which are more important than this.
Yeah, I suppose they're also going to try, and I think in 2028 they're going to try and land people on the moon again. So this is a test run to try and test some of the new equipment, because it's been a long time. Do you know when the last time humans were on the moon, landed on the moon?
Actually landed on it. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't even know if it happened in the 80s, did it? I
no.
think it was
So
maybe,
how many times do you think humans have landed on the moon?
I don't know. It depends if you believe that the US got there first, I suppose. But I know that's very
Well,
conspiratorial.
the US had the US have been the only country to land people on the moon. Other countries have landed objects on the moon, but the
Really? The
USA is the
Russians
only
never
country that have
got
landed
people on the moon?
humans. No, they've had objects on the moon. So there have
Ah,
been 6 missions that have successfully landed people on the moon,
okay.
and each of those missions, 2 people went onto the moon. So there is a total of 12 humans have ever been on the moon. That's a lot more than I thought. Like, I would have thought it was, like, 2 or 3 times, but the
Hmm.
first time was, in what year, do you remember? Do you know?
60, 64?
69. July
69.
20th,
Okay.
1969, and can
Okay.
you name the 2 people that went on the moon for the first time?
No. La-
I can't believe
Lance,
you would not know
Lance
this.
Armstrong and I don't know.
Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong. Who's Lance Armstrong?
He's that cyclist who was married to Sheryl Crow who got done for, like, doping scandal.
Fucking hell. All right.
Um, and the other person,
Okay,
you can't remember?
I want to say Buzz Aldrin, but I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, that's
You've
correct.
gone very
That's
quiet.
correct.
Can you move your
So
microphone back a bit, back towards your mouth?
so so that's correct. That was the two people on the first mission. You had
Neil
such a
Armstrong.
struggle to remember those. Yeah, you had such a
Well,
struggle to remember those 2
Sue,
that
you can't
gonna
spring pop
bother
quizzes on me.
I I'm not even gonna bother asking you, can you name any of the other 10 people that landed on the moon? Because I don't think
Absolutely
you'll
not.
know any of those people. But anyway, things are still landing on the moon, like, uncrewed vessels. So, like, China has landed things on the moon without people on them. I find it really fascinating. Would you go to the moon if you had a chance?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
I would not be able to do it, to get into a rocket ship, whatever you call them. Um, no, no way.
Okay.
I would have a panic attack.
Okay. Well,
Do do we have
let's, next in the
do we have
what's that?
time to quickly talk about something a lot more serious, I think, and pressing? Um, I know we've only got a few minutes left, but I was really fucking appalled to hear about Israel signing into law this new law that allows for corporal punishment or the death penalty by hanging only for Palestinians. So I
Mhm.
don't think it's been completely finalized, but it's passed like the first 2 steps, I suppose, needed to enact a new law. And this is about Palestinians who carry out some form of terrorism, I think, are now able to be hanged. But I just think I mean, what Israel is doing at the moment in the world is so outrageous. We talk about what's going on with Iran and Lebanon, but I mean, the situation in Gaza is still absolutely fucking dire. They have committed and are still committing a genocide in Gaza. But this law is so shocking to me that it actually names a nationality in a law that allows people to be killed. I mean, it's almost too awful to get your head around and to understand. Um, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think the most you and I can say sitting here is that we see it for what it is and we recognize it and we're appalled. I don't know what we can do as humans in our position to try and counter this, but I can't believe that there's anybody outside of the cult of Israel, like the state cult of Israel, that could see this in any way as defensible. Like, I think
Mm.
this is really beyond any sort of consideration for normalcy. This is living genocide, and It is outrageous, and
Yeah, it's just
I
it's
I don't know
absolutely
what's
disgusting.
gonna happen.
I mean, it would be
Yeah.
one thing, and it would not arguably be better, but it would be one thing to say they're bringing back the death penalty for people who commit acts of terrorism, but to actually name Palestine and Palestinians
Yeah.
in that is, to me, it is completely. It's a whole new level of atrocity and disgusting um, behavior from Israel, and it just makes
Yeah,
me
because
so incredibly sad.
also there's absolutely no, um sort of there's no trust in the system of policing or adjudicating Palestinians by Israel. I mean, if they say this
God, no.
person was involved in terror, that there's no way you could trust that system um,
Mm,
to be telling the truth or to, so apart from the death penalty being horrendous, the death penalty by hanging um, for, from a law based around targeting just one nationality or ethnic group is absolutely fucking outrageous and
yeah.
disgusting. And Israel is just on another whole other thing that I can't even believe is happening. But
Mm.
anyway, that's a really cheery way to finish the podcast. So thanks for bringing that up in the last
Yeah, you're
throws.
welcome.
Um,
Sure.
anything else you'd like to share with people before we go?
No, I mean, I didn't mention at the beginning, but please do subscribe wherever you're listening to or watching this episode. Please leave us a comment. Let us know your thoughts on space travel, on RSD, and on Israel. Please don't hold back.
And on TLC, would you go and see TLC in concert? Is this a
Mm,
step too far? And who
no.
is the bigger monster in the world, Rosanda Thomas or Benjamin Netanyahu? Tell us your views in the comments, please. And if you'd like to find out more information about me, you can go to fatgayvegan.com. And tickets for my London Vegan Beer Fest are on sale now, so go check it out.
Okay, there's my London Vegan Beer Fest glass from 2015. So until next
Oh,
week,
wow.
people, to take care of yourselves and watch out for those little vampires. Where's your little vampire, Sean? Where's it gone?
I don't know where. Oh, I put it back over there. It's over there,
Oh,
but my other one is behind me. Can you see?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
true. Okay, we'll see you next week, folks. Until then, take care of yourselves.
Bye.